Welcome back to the Gardening with Joe and Holly radio show. Thank you for being with us today. Want more information? All those coupon codes and the companies that support us, all of them can be found at our parent website, thewisconsinvegetablegardener.com, underneath the Season 9 tab and Money tab at the top of the page. Well, Holly, let's go to the hotline and bring in our guest for this week.
Marcus Bridgewater is an author, speaker, gardener, and more. He teaches people about personal growth and well-being through plants. Welcome to the program, Marcus.
All right. Thank you for having me.
Well, we appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule, not only to educate Holly and myself, but all of our listeners. And I'll start with this. Where did the journey for you begin in gardening and growing plants? Was it something you found later on in life, or was it something that you were kind of born into?
You know, I was very fortunate to be adopted into a family in the countryside of Florida, and it was filled with orange groves and corn rows when I was growing up. You won't find those things there anymore, but that was the backdrop for the nature I was in, and huge amounts of acres of woods that I got to travel in and learn from. Then as I got older, and I traded those beautiful green and brown scapes and the canopies for fluorescent lights and 90-hour work weeks, I found myself in this type of juxtaposition between something I knew I was missing and what I had time for. And I was very fortunate as I bought my first house. My oldest friend's mom, my plant mom, she gifted me a bunch of plants from a nursery she was closing. And I brought those plants home, put them all over my house, and put myself in a new jungle. Unfortunately, before I knew it, I'd killed more than half of those plants, and I sought out to figure out how to keep the rest alive. And that's really where my plant journey took its arc.
Some of the most successful gardeners have admitted to us they've killed at least 1,000 plants before they could even consider themselves decent gardeners.
Add me to that list.
So, your journey of growing plants, how does this coincide for you with your personal growth?
Well, there is a lot to be said about the similarities we share with our plant cousins, but in caring for these plants and learning about how to keep the plants that I had alive, I found something really profound, and it was probably one of the most powerful life lessons I've learned from plants. I can't make them grow, but I can foster the environment where they want to grow, and they're always working on their growth. And I saw myself in that same mirroring, where I'm a reflection and a result of the environments and the people that I have crossed and spent time with. But at the exact same time, I'm also challenged and given the opportunity to challenge myself to work beyond the struggles or any of the adversity I've crossed along the way. And if I get to do that, then I will grow into something really profound. And if I keep growing, I'll put myself in the position to flower, which is something to share with my community. And that correlation has continued to run true in my life.
And people can tell you, hey, this is what you need to do, Marcus. Here's the ideal. But unless you decide for yourself, hey, I am going to, it's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen, no. And then, you know, when I realized that I can't make anything grow, but I can foster the environment where things want to grow, it made me a better teacher, a better administrator, a better person, a better son. All of a sudden, I realized the choices I'm making, they are fostering the effect of those who are living in that space. So I should be as conscious as I can and share as much kindness, patience, and positivity if I actually want to promote growth.
And there's a lot of people that try to exit the environment that they're in because they think a different environment is much better. But we're placed in that environment for a specific reason. And when we look back 10, 15 years from now, we'll go, that's the reason I was there, because of this, this, and this.
This, and this, yes. And that, you know, that ties into this thing. It's like a lot of people have heard the lesson I've shared, and they're like, oh, it's the environment that I'm in. And I'm like, oh, well, no, there's also that factor I added that, you know, plants are focused on their growth. Are you? a lot of us are distracted, and we don't have the peace, the balance, and the harmony so that we are actually our own peace, balance, and harmony so that we can sustain growth and our well-being. And unfortunately, if we're not doing that, it doesn't matter where we go, we're not going to find the success we actually want.
And you use that word distraction more now than ever before in our lives. Is distraction a thing that is a common occurrence?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We have more access to distraction than ever before. And when you consider that in nature, there are so many things to observe, there is more to observe in any set of woods than there are actual shows on Netflix. But you have to be lensing to see it. You have to put yourself in the space. You have to be able to shift your own perception, control one of the most powerful tools we've been given in the universe, our perceptions, so that you can actually open yourself to opportunity and to awareness, to appreciate the minutia and the variance in the woods right next to you. But we don't do that. We're distracted by entertaining ourselves. And the more we do that, the less we actually focus on elements of growth.
And you spoke about growing up in the woods of Florida. When you walk through the woods, yeah, you can see trees and leaves, but when you look and you really look, you can see the fungi and the mushrooms and the moss and the way the tree has fallen and the decay that tree is experiencing, things that common people who don't take time will never notice.
Absolutely. I was just doing a photo shoot, and it was more of a movie shoot, but I had a crew with me, and we were shooting in the nature preserve, and I kept stopping to show things that people just weren't seeing. And one of those beautiful moments was a spider's web, and how many people you see the spider's web, but until you get down on a certain level and let the light hit it, you don't see that there's actually a bubble. The spider has created a circle, a sphere inside the web, which adds for protection and also stability. It's incredible ingenuity. The engineering of it is the highest perfection for force deflection. Is just brilliant. But you would walk right by it and never notice if you don't take time and maybe bend down every now and then to see from a different level, from a different perspective.
That's very true. So one of your books is How to Grow, Nurture Your Garden, Nurture Yourself. Let's talk about it. What can our listeners expect when they pick up a copy? Give us, kind of what it's all about.
Okay, so How to Grow, Nurture Your Garden, Nurture Yourself is a personal growth book written through the lens of the garden. And I like to tell people about the Korean title. It's been translated into Korean, and the Koreans gave it a different title. They called it 16 Life Lessons from Plants, Live Like Slow But Hard Plant. I think that's also a brilliant title and also encompasses quite a bit of the nature of the story of what I'm trying to share. It's a book about my life experiences and how I was able to take those life experiences and turn those challenges into growth. And I'm sharing with you how those same challenges I've also seen mirrored in nature, and how I've learned from both my challenges, but also from nature, about how to maintain a degree of observation, resilience, and persistence so that you can achieve true growth by having a quality peace of mind, balance for your body, and then harmony for your spirit.
Well, you talk about challenges. What is a recent challenge you have faced, and what was the steps that you ever overcame that challenge?
Oh, wow. Well, challenges present themselves all the time, whether it be the water heater breaking and you got to figure out how to troubleshoot amidst a busy schedule and travel to figure out how to get something there, or the challenge is just having a little one who is now entering his toddler phase and is now deciding to say no and mine a lot. And so how do you address the challenges? Well, one of the things that is consistent in every challenge I face, whether it be the water heater or it be entering a new stage of rearing with my son is to try to maintain my highest standard of being and continue to share kindness, patience, and positivity, which in a nutshell comes down to me making sure I'm always learning and I'm not creating barriers between me and whatever it is. I'm walking away with something that I can take and add to the next challenge. And so that's how I've been able to approach those challenges. And I've been very fortunate that regardless of the scale of challenge, I don't get overwhelmed. I'm blessed that I can see it and take the mountain of lessons I get to carry with me and apply them forward.
With age comes wisdom, and some people got that figured out. Other people are still learning, and So whenever if you freak out during a situation, that's not helping anybody. You want to try to stay calm and evaluate the situation and make rational decisions in whatever type of situation you're dealing with.
One of the things I like to talk about with people, and I'm very fortunate I get to mentor and educate and speak on this subject in various settings. The importance of this equation. Awareness takes practice, and practice takes persistence. We can't have awareness of the lessons we've learned unless we practice being aware of them and making a point to learn. And that takes a type of persistence that I genuinely think we used to have in our natural exchange, but we have replaced with our phones and convenience.
Yeah, I agree. There's a lack of self-awareness in a lot of people, and I think it is. I think technology is a very helpful tool, but I think it also is a very hurtful or harmful tool to a lot of things, and self-awareness is definitely one of them.
I agree. Well, one of the things I like to tell people is every tool is really powerful, but the moment you stop applying discipline and moderation, regardless of the tool, it becomes a vice, and that is destructive to you and to everyone else. So technology is one of those really powerful tools we've got to be extra conscious of applying discipline and moderation to, or else it is destructive to all.
So you have a toddler, and this is your first child. How has this changed, your personal growth, kind of how you have learned to adapt to things? Potential temperament, etc. And how, maybe how, you thought, I might be this kind of parent, and now you're like, that's not the type of parent I am. How has that all changed for you?
Well, change is an interesting word. I feel like the change is in the fact that I'm a parent now, and I wasn't before. So that's the greatest change. The evolution of my parenting has been a blessing and a half that I've just gotten to learn from. Similar to what I was saying earlier, I'm constantly learning from my son and attempting to learn with him. If it is the change in myself or a change in contrast to what I might have thought. And I try to live my life without a degree of expectation so I don't get disappointed. So if it's about a contrast of what I thought could be to what actually is, it would be acknowledging the lack of community and village when it comes to actually rearing him. When I think about growing something in the garden, and even if you look at just the smallest amount of soil, there's so much life in that soil. There's so many things that are stimulating the roots that are actually enabling the stalk to be strong, to produce the leaves so that they can exchange with the universe and learn from the sun and shift how the growth is being done. And so I attempt to nurture that in my son as much as I possibly can. But I find myself in contemplation regularly that we're living in a world where it's so difficult to do such a thing, and we're all doing it right next to each other, but we're not doing it together. And I remember growing up in the countryside, and it was a village, and we knew everyone on the street. We all knew each other. We shared goods and resources. We were far more connected than I see people being today. And it was not just family, it was neighbors, it was community. And so if there's anything that I would say is not as I thought it would be, it is this stark awareness of how little community there is for parents.
So you that's really great observation. You highly enjoy public speaking. Is there a memorable moment while presenting that you will remember forever, or just something that keeps you wanting to continue public speaking?
Oh man, I've had my mom's told me for my whole life that I was gonna be a public speaker and a teacher. And I said, no, Ma, no. And here I sit, a former teacher and administrator, and I speak all the time now as a motivational speaker and an inspirational coach. And I feel very fortunate for that. And I think that one of the most incredible memories I have for such a thing is speaking on stage. The lights are really bright. I can't see all the people. And I make a joke and everyone laughs, and there's more people in the audience than I realize. And in that moment, I realized that it had mattered to me that I was talking to only 3 or 4 people in my mind, but it turned out to be a couple hundred. It was about the message and about the joy of the 3 people that I was picturing in my mind. And so as and so as I crossed some of those people in the lobby and I got to see the joy and the love on their face, it was a truly moving moment that we had all gotten to breathe together and that we'd all gotten to come to the same frequency. And the love was vibrant throughout the room, and several people commented that they felt like I was talking to them, and that was a measure of success in a way, because I felt like I was talking to a small crowd, not just a big one. So I think that's one of the most powerful memories for me, just knowing that people are really listening, and it means a lot to the people who are there to engage.
Exactly. No matter what your message is or how simplistic you think it is, it can impact somebody in a way that you never knew was possible.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, Marcus, we greatly appreciate the time, the knowledge, your information. How can people find out more about you and to get your book and find you online?
You can check out gardenmarcus.com, and you can also type Garden Marcus or Marcus Bridgewater into your preferred search engine. And if you type in See Marcus Grow, How to Grow, or Seasons of Growth by Marcus Bridgewater, you'll see the books are available anywhere books are sold and everywhere books are sold. And that is the easiest way for you to engage in the medium that you prefer.
Well, Marcus, we thank you so much for your time and your wisdom. Thank you, sir.
Hey, thank you all for having me. Have a great, great rest of your day.
Absolutely. And when we're